don't have any credit and you don't know where to start, that's okay. Today, I'm gonna teach you some simple things you can do and get started on today to kickstart your credit journey. Hey, what's going on, guys? Welcome back to Real Estate Playbook. My name is Andrew, and today I wanted to just jump into how you can build your credit, right? Maybe you're a first-time home buyer and you don't really have your credit established yet. This would be a great place to start so you can begin building your credit so when it is time to make that home purchase, you get the most favorable lending options possible that are available to you. So the first thing I really wanted to just, capitalize on here is really credit is a multi-step process, right? And I've got this kind of broken down for you because I want to just focus your attention on these three things here. The first thing with your credit, you got to implement it, right? Just with any goal, you need to implement the actual strategy of what you're going to do. The second thing is we got to execute on that strategy, right? Implementing it isn't going to be good enough. We need to then execute on whatever that strategy is. And then lastly, we need to be consistently doing it to the best of our abilities. And if we do all of these three things, you're going to end up with great credit. And really, guys, this could be applied towards any goal, but I have it tailored towards your credit because that's what we're talking about. So number one, again, implement, execute, and then be consistent doing it. So let's focus on those three things. But being a little bit more specific, I want to break down your credit journey into two steps here. And really the first one, like I said, is implementing it, or the how, right? What steps do we need to take to get this thing rolling? And when you're someone who's new and you're getting your credit, you're not going to have as many options when it comes to getting lines of credit because you haven't shown any lender that you're responsible. So you're going to have a few different options to pick from to start building your credit. The main one is going to be secured credit lines. And basically secured means that this debt that you're taking on is backed by some sort of collateral. Some examples would be doing some sort of personal loan. And in this case, you'd be securing it against a savings account, a checking account, a money market, maybe a CD, right? Certificate of deposit. That's an option of what it would be secured against, but that'd be kind of more for your personal loan. That's a way you could get started. You could get started with an auto loan. That would be a form of secured credit line. But just one little caveat there with the auto loans, guys. Don't go buy a car just to buy a car. Okay, this is productively, you're doing this to productively build your credit, not to put yourself behind the eight ball by just buying stupid stuff, right? So I have an auto loan there, but that is if you need it and if it is smart in your path to build your credit. So I'm just putting that caveat there because I'm not giving you the free excuse to just go get an $800 car payment when that's not in your budget. A next thing you could do is getting a secured credit card, right? Credit cards are normally unsecured, but you could find different ones that are secured. This would be through like Discover, Capital One. All the major credit card companies have some form of secured credit. And again, this is just something to get you started, right? This probably isn't going to have a massive credit limit. You don't really need one anyway, but it's just something to get you started so you can start building your credit. Those are some different forms of secure credit lines that you could get started on. So guys, the next thing we could start working on is your revolving credit. Because when it comes to factoring in your credit, one of the credit mixes that goes into it is just what different types of credit you have. So we've got secured, now we've got revolving, or this could also be seen as an installment, right? So installment, revolving. And again, just like you would go to these different credit card companies for your secured, you can do the same thing for your credit card. So when I was building my credit, I actually just got a basic Discover card, right? It had probably a $500 limit, if that, because I had no credit, right? I was a lot younger. That was something I did. I got a revolving credit card and I just paid it off and used it very little. But just a little tip here with your revolving credit line. You don't need to max it out. Certainly don't do that, but you don't need to use that much on it, right? Maybe if you're a high schooler, if you're a young adult, maybe you just use it for your gas, or maybe you just use it for your groceries, or maybe you just, buy a pack of gum on there every once in a while, right? You don't need to use it that much. And that's important to identify because when you're young and you are building your credit, you don't want to build the bad habit of just spending money that's not yours, right? We don't want to get in that bad habit. So only use this for some basic things until you get in the rhythm of it. Another strategy you could implement to start building your credit is to become an authorized user on someone's credit card account, somebody who has a good credit card account. And essentially what you're doing is basically you're going on their account and you're basically piggybacking off of the good credit they have. And I did put this at the bottom, guys, because this is not going to be available to everyone. Not everyone's going to have the family friend or parent who's going to hook them up with their good credit. So if you have it, that's great. Definitely take advantage of it, but don't rely on this. These two things, those are things you can control. Those are things that are in your ability to take action on. That third one is really, if you have it, great. But if you don't, we're not going to lose sleep over it. But I did just put it on there because that is a way to jumpstart your credit if you have someone who's willing to help you out. All right, so moving on to the habits now, right? Because we've talked about really the steps in terms of the how we're going to actually build credit. Now we want to talk about the habits. And in my opinion, this might actually be more important because just like over here on this, if you can see that over here, it's not good enough just to implement. We need to then execute on it and then be consistent on it. So here's some habits that I wanted to point your attention to that can put you into just the right mindset with your credit. Just a quick little tip here. Have some sort of system for how you're going to pay back this credit. Maybe you're going to do auto pay. Maybe you're going to have a calendar invite or something like that on your Google Calendar or Outlook calendar. Or maybe you're going to do it manually and you're going to have your own, some sort of planning system, right? The point is, guys, is you need to have some sort of system to remind yourself that these need to be paid. Because if you don't pay these back on time, it's actually going to be worse than probably even having credit at all, right? It's going to really hurt you big time. So just figure out some sort of system that's going to help you and remind you to have your stuff paid back on time. Another thing in terms of building strong credit and having good habits is keeping your utilization as low as possible when you're using these revolving credit lines. So just like I said before, when you get that new credit card, don't let some bad habits start and just start spending all this money that you don't have. Because what that's going to do is that's going to increase your utilization, which is going to negatively affect your credit score. So I would recommend you keep your utilization 10% or less of what your total allowance is, right? So if we're going back to our other example of having a $500 credit limit, that means really, guys, we should be using less than $50 of it on there, right? And I know that sounds really small, but in the beginning, guys, it's going to be small. We're just getting started, right? We're not so far down the road yet. We're just getting things started. So, in that $50 case, maybe that's getting, well, I guess in today's economy, that's probably 1 gallon or 1 tank of gas. But just using it like that, you don't get the utilization too high. So guys, my last little habit I have on here is just to make wise credit decisions. And I'm pointing this out here because credit is kind of a double-edged sword, right? We need to have credit to get better lending terms when we need money for a house, any other financing we're trying to do, but we can't be stupid with it. So like I said before with the car, this should be stuff you're doing intentionally to build. Don't just open it up to open it up. Don't just open up the credit card at Shields because they're giving you a discount on that new fishing rod or whatever it is you're buying, right? Don't just buy a new car because it's going to help your credit, right? It should be a need. It should be a necessity. You shouldn't just be doing it to do it. And then lastly, kind of along with this, you shouldn't be stacking up these new inquiries and opening new credits in just a really short period of time because that is going to hurt you. So those are kind of some just, general rules of thumb that I implement in my own life when I'm trying to build my credit or continue to build my credit, but also for clients in the past, right? Because again, I think personally the habits are way more important than actually just implementing. You got to actually do it. You got to execute it, be consistent on it. So there you guys have it. There's some simple things you can do to jumpstart your credit if you're starting from new. And really just recapping, we got to get some form of credit, right? Probably in the form of a secure credit line, maybe a revolving credit line, or maybe even an authorized user if you have that benefit, right? But if you don't, we're going to take action ourselves and we're going to get these forms and start taking action on them. So like I said, we're going to implement it. And then number 2, we're going to start creating some good habits, right? We're going to be smart with it. We're not going to have any late payments. We're going to be, responsible with the allowances that we're allowed to use, right? And we're going to be systematic in terms of how we open up new credit. We're not just going to do it to do it. So there's kind of a quick little summary there, guys, on how we can start building your credit if you're starting from zero. So there you guys have it. I appreciate you hanging out with me here and watching all the way to the end. And I hope this was valuable to you. I hope this helped you learn something and push you down the right path when it comes to building your credit, right? I know credit can be a challenging thing, but I do hope this helped put you in the right direction. Now you can start taking action. So if you have other questions, you're trying to learn more about credit, I do have other credit videos inside of this channel to help you out. But otherwise, I'll see you next time. Take care.